For early European explorers, North America did not look like a promised land of opportunity. It looked like an icy, violent graveyard. Spain tried planting missions across Florida and the Carolinas, only to abandon most of them. The English tried to settle Roanoke in the 1580s, and again at Popham in Maine in 1607. Both ended in failure, with the Roanoke colonists vanishing so completely that their fate remains a mystery today. The people who stepped off these early ships faced a brutal reality. They died of severe malnutrition during the winters, froze in poorly insulated wooden shelters, and were decimated by outbreaks of malaria and dysentery. The core logistical problem was distance. Relying on an ocean crossing meant that resupply ships from Europe were consistently delayed or lost. And as the desperate colonists expanded their footprint looking for food, they sparked fierce, deadly conflicts with indigenous nations defending their homelands. Merely planting a flag on the coastline was a death sentence. To actually survive, the next wave of settlers had to abandon the ways they lived in Europe and engineer entirely new types of societies from the ground up. Under mercantilism, the British viewed the colonies as a machine to extract wealth, absorbing manufactured goods in return. Virginia fed this machine with tobacco, generating crucial wealth. But tobacco rapidly exhausts soil, forcing planters to constantly clear new territory. Because the Chesapeake rivers allowed planters to ship crops directly from their own docks to London, they didn't need local cities or markets to thrive. This geographic isolation encouraged landowners to operate as independent, self-contained units. To maintain this scale, they moved from white indentured servants to the permanent, brutal system of enslaved African labor. Southern survival resulted in a deeply stratified society. Without the shared identity of town life, the South became a collection of individualistic estates, driven by exports and maintained at a staggering cost to human life. Further north, the motivation was entirely different. Puritan separatists didn't cross the Atlantic to enrich London merchants. They fled religious persecution, aiming to build a deeply righteous, self-sustaining community in Massachusetts, a city upon a hill designed to be a moral example for the world. This side-by-side chart reveals a stark demographic contrast. The swampy Chesapeake colonies struggled with high death rates and a heavily male population, but New England settlers found a healthier climate. Arriving in large family groups, they quickly established a balanced, self-sustaining population. You can see the difference in how they organized their physical world. Instead of isolated plantations, New Englanders clustered tightly together. They built their homes directly around a central meeting house or church, ensuring the community remained physically and spiritually connected. Without a single dominant cash crop like tobacco, Northern survival depended on cooperative subsistence farming. Entire families worked small plots of land together. Women managed essential domestic production, churning butter and spinning yarn from wool, to ensure the town could feed and clothe itself. They supplemented this farming by harvesting the region's massive timber supply, which sparked a booming merchant shipbuilding industry. By combining strict religious cohesion with a diversified local economy, the North built a society operating on completely different logic than the South. Despite their differences, all 13 colonies shared a booming appetite for British manufactured goods. From Massachusetts to Georgia, colonists bought the same iron utensils, cloth, and window glass, tying their daily lives back to the empire. By the mid-18th century, this combination, Southern tobacco exports paired with Northern merchant fleets, drove British exports to the region up by 360%. The region, once defined by starvation, had become essential to the Atlantic economy. Yet beneath that shared financial success, two distinct cultures now occupied the same coastline. One was a decentralized, aristocratic plantation economy reliant on enslaved labor. The other was a tight-knit, religiously driven society of small farmers and merchants. The survival strategies chosen in the 1600s became the permanent structures of the 1700s. These conflicting models created structural fractures across the continent, laying the geographic and cultural fault lines that would eventually divide the United States.